Is a real estate boom incoming? Today we'll be breaking down all of that for you and how it applies to the crypto market. My name is Paul Bear. Welcome back into Tech Path. Want to get started today? I want to thank our sponsor, and that is Coinbase. A great place for you guys to get started. You guys can go over there and trade all sorts of crypto, as well as hold your USDC over there and get some rewards. So all you have to do is use our link down below. You can, depending on which promo they have going on today, they've got the 50. You get 50 if you do a $50 trade. So that's one way to get started. Very easy to set up too. This is probably one of the easiest. I've done this with many people who are brand new to crypto. They always ask me, what do I use? I show them how to use it on Coinbase. They love it after they get in. Use our link. It does help the channel. Let's get going into it today. I want to start with some things that are starting to flow into the market. And one of the things I want to show you here is the Florida housing market. Now, this is just showing you in comparison to the average Florida home value. I know that's kind of high, but that's Florida. But it's down, considerably. And the value starting to plateau right here. That's the kind of thing that is starting to maybe shift a little bit. If you look at it right here, the housing market overview, there's the median sales price, but the number of homes sold. Look at this dip right here. This is the point in which the least number of days on the market. It was like around 20 days, around 2022, mid-2022. It spiked up in February of 23, and then here we are, February of 25, almost 80 days on the market. That's the difference here, guys, is that we are seeing a market that is slowing right now. And if it's happening here in Florida, which is one of the lagging markets that's already started to see this nationwide, some of the regulatory alignment could be a big factor here. I want to go to this clip right here of Ron DeSantis kind of speaking to the point of property taxes. Take a look.
We would end up with about $1,000 in property tax cut for every homesteaded Floridian, and that will make a big, big difference. But authorizing a nice, crisp DOGE effort for local governments where you'd be able to look at the payments, the contracts, and then publicize this. Because if you look at the budgets, it's very opaque. I know we want to get on the ballot, but we have a chance to do this year. Man, I'll tell you, first of all, the realtors, I mean, you would boom like never before. I mean, are you kidding me? This would be really good.
All right, so speaking of real estate, I have to bring on one of the experts that's been on our show before, and that is Natalia coming in from Propy. How are you?
Good. Thank you so much for having me, Paul.
Nice to see you again. We've had you guys on the show before. If you guys want to check out that video, you can go back and just search Propy. You'll find it. But give me an understanding, and some of our new people that are watching right now and listening, what is Propy and how does it apply to the crypto market and the real estate boom that could be incoming?
Absolutely. So Propy is very much focused on automation of the real estate transaction. We're utilizing smart contracts and AI to automate the real estate transaction and actually address the affordability, because today consumers are losing a lot of money when they're buying homes in different fees, and the speed is high and so on. So speaking of affordability and the mobility of the new generation, when they want to move to where the jobs are within the states and they want to get into home ownership, whether it's tax decrease or other incentives and interest rate to be lower, the transaction fee also is a big segment where we can help the consumer, the American home buyer, to save and make this decision easier for them to get into home ownership, to buy a new home when they move from one state to another. So that's our mission, to make the real estate closing very fast, very user-friendly, so that the new generation is not afraid to get in ownership. They would lack this unnecessary bureaucracy. So it's easy to buy a home as it's easy to buy crypto today.
Yeah, well, I think the key here is disruption, because we are seeing a bit of a change here. If DeSantis is successful in lowering property tax in Florida, this would have an immediate effect on home sales, which could generate right into what you're talking about in terms of getting more transactions into crypto. I was looking at a Twitter post you guys put up here. This is just showing the Q1 Propy's game-changing wins. You guys have done, let me kind of zoom in on that so everybody can see. Record-breaking quarter in terms of transaction revenue, so that's good. Launched the first ever Bitcoin-backed real estate loan, so that's been done. And then you have also been closing real estate transactions, including Hawaii. So First of all, with some of those things that you guys have hit on right now, the last time we had you on, it was very early in your journey of kind of bringing this into the market of real estate. How do you feel like the market is right now in terms of accepting what you guys are trying to do?
Yeah, we definitely have been very busy since our last show together. And it's a tremendous opportunity for us when the markets are down to really focus on the excellence in operations. So today we operate as a licensed title company in Florida, Arizona, and Colorado. And about 5 more states are coming by the end of the year. Okay. And I think the best testimonial for us is by regular clients, not necessarily crypto natives, but regular clients who are using and choosing Propy Title as their title company when they buy a home. And the best testimonial is on Google reviews. We have all 5-star reviews from multiple buyers and realtors that are happy that we provide this transparency with 24/7 platform, but also security when we use blockchain to secure every single step of the transaction. And they're paying us in dollars through wire transfers, but the beauty of our settlement protocol is that we've built numerous integrations with banks, online payment, with the recording with counties and others. So yes, Q1 in 2025 delivered all-time high in transactions, in volume. Our team is doing great. We're about 40 people today. So I'm very, very proud of everything that the Propy team was able to deliver.
So Natalia, what is the current status right now of Bitcoin-backed loans that could be utilized in real estate purchases? Has there been any expansion in terms of the banks and/or financial institutions, or just crypto companies that have said, hey, we want to jump into this? Have you seen any new players coming out?
Yeah, that's a great question with kind of a positive story, but also a cautionary story behind it. Obviously, as Michael Saylor is saying, Bitcoin is a pristine collateral. We all believe in this use case where you could use your crypto, whether it's XRP, Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, and you could use it as a collateral to diversify your investment and get into real world assets such as real estate. Mm-hmm. So for the first time in history, we were able to deliver an on-chain loan that would execute as a loan only if the real estate transaction is closing via smart contracts. So it's all executed automatically, and now the homeowner is able to wait for the appreciation of their Bitcoin, but also have exposure to real estate. The caveat here, back to your question, is that the traditional players are not ready to use Bitcoin as a collateral, while the crypto native lending platforms are not ready to accept real estate, a traditional asset, as a collateral. So we've been educating both the largest mortgage companies as well as largest crypto lending platforms. And I think we'll soon have some news in this opportunity to scale. But so we've been educating, and before we reach this equilibrium of understanding that both assets are digital, secure, and could play a role and should play a role as a collateral, before we see that, we will not observe the scale, but it's coming. And we had a number of conversations, not only with those institutional players I mentioned, but also with quasi-governmental institutions that are getting there into their understanding. We've been even advocating for mortgages to be approved for crypto natives that own Bitcoin, so that the Coinbase statements to be approved for acceptance as a proof of funds for mortgage application. So we've been advocating it not only for the Propy user benefit, but overall for the American home buyer. Because I want to remind the listeners here that in 2022, 12% of first home buyers in America used cryptocurrency to back their down payment. So the new generation, they choose crypto, they choose real estate, and it's time those two assets to merge.
Coinbase, which is one of the most, their sponsor of today's show, one of the biggest platforms out there, a lot of people are carrying balances both in Coinbase, whether it's USDC, even the dollar, or in crypto assets. And I'm surprised that banks are not using that as a validation of funds. Are you telling me that that's not happening today?
It's not happening today, but it's coming. And again, on our side, we've been advocating and educating both the DC legislation group as well as Freddie Mac, Fannie Mae leadership group, so that they look at it. And I think it should come as a community effort. And I'm sure the Coinbase community is doing that as well as we do it. It all comes to the security and trust to allow first of those approvals to come through. And of course, Coinbase has this reliable source of statements of KYC and AML procedures that could be sufficient enough for the risk management of mortgage providers, banks that are actually reliable on the Freddie Mac and Fannie Mae rules. So it goes back to them to start doing those exceptions at first before it comes standard.
Today, I noticed that you have some Grant Cardone listings, listing with Propy. Are you finding that maybe getting guys like Grant and other big real estate investors to start utilizing this tool would validate that for maybe the bankers, a lot of the industry itself, especially going forward? Does that help, do you feel?
I think any story that gets attention to the consumer and media, and then those champions within big organizations, they also pay attention. And when you see stories like real estate and Bitcoin come together, whether it's Grant Cardone or other influencers, it just drives attention to the whole space, because the space is growing. It's not only Bitcoin-backed loan. It's not only listing your property, your luxury $40 million property, willing to accept Bitcoin. It's an array of things such as escrow via smart contracts, such as fractional ownership. And it's not only Propy that is tackling this space. So as soon as we grow together and help each other to put this voice out, I think a lot of players, institutional players, are paying attention and they're getting mature. You know, Paul, when we started in 2017, most of our conversations with institutional players and legislators were about what is blockchain, why it's immutable, what is crypto, it's all shady. So all the hours we've spent on education was about the legitimacy of the space. But this is no longer a point of conversation because the legitimacy is here. The high-level education of why Bitcoin and blockchain matter is already there. Now we're getting deeper into applications, into use cases such as Propy, USDC, and everything that other successful crypto companies in America are doing. And of course, with the new administration being so pro-crypto, it only helps.
I want to go back to Florida for a second, because there is a bit of a unique shift that is occurring in Florida that will most likely cause a lot of real estate to be open on the market. One is this whole idea about registering Canadian, the snowbirds that are coming in here. Because remember, the whole issue in Florida right now, I'll just read this. Warm and sunny Florida, Great White North. This is all the people that are coming down here. Last year, around 3.3 million Canadians came down, and about 27% of our overall international visitors are coming out of Canada. So the key is they own a lot of homes here. And we are now seeing a large amount of those homes being listed on the market. So all of a sudden we've got a boom in available property that we did not have here in Florida. So this could open up some opportunity, like what you're saying is, you know, there just wasn't any houses available. But I want to get to the point of where regulation could be playing into this, possibly with a new governor incoming. And this next clip is Byron Donalds, who's talking about what he could do here in Florida. Take a look.
Let's make Florida the financial capital of the world. Bitcoin will be a part of the state's portfolio. We will cut the commercial lease tax, ease rules, and lead in blockchain and crypto.
He seems to be very pro blockchain. This could be good for you. Is there a regulatory framework that you would say, hey, if we could get these things done in the state of Florida and show the rest of the country how to do this, what would they be?
Oh, definitely, yes. And we've been talking to a number of legislators, not only in Florida, local counties, but also in DC, which I was honored to be at the reception after the famous crypto summit at the White House, and also participating in the digital summit with the Milken Institute. And we're entertaining 5 ideas on what some of the states could be the first ever states to introduce, to set the example. One of them, it's an obvious one, is let's allow counties to record deeds on blockchain, and also make sure that the history of the title transfer also is recorded on blockchain. So we will need less paperwork for transfers, and also it's more secure to store title this way. The second one is ensuring and kind of requesting the escrow process to be happening via smart contracts, which would address the fraud risk, because Florida, unfortunately, is flourishing in terms of the fraud cases in comparison to the rest of the country. The other point that we're working on with other states' representatives are allowing the first ever AI agent to take over of a closing process in real estate, where you trust the processes and the current regulation to allow an AI agent to process the transaction, of course, initially with the help of a human licensed professional, but eventually it will be a case where Florida or another state will allow this fraudless way of transacting real estate. And there are a number of other ideas that we're entertaining, and it's all to the benefit of the local homeowner, to save on fees, to make transaction more secure, and to make it also very easy and understandable for the foreign investor. Historically, the foreign investors in Florida buying real estate were from Latin America. Right. Then it was the Canadian wave. And I've observed it in the past with Bulgaria, where I established my real estate development company. So it was a wave of UK investors and the wave of Latvia investors. So Florida is one of those states that will keep having those cycles of investors, given this tremendous growth, both in Miami infrastructure and housing, as well as the Tampa Bay area. Amazing, tremendous growth. I think we'll yet to see a lot of new countries to invest, but also the talent, right? Because Miami now is developing into a new Silicon Valley momentum area. So more talent and more kind of investors will come into the space. And we need a very user-friendly way to allow them to invest in real estate. Having said that, we don't need any specific regulation to keep flourishing and thriving in Florida. Historically, when we launched here, Floridians were very receptive to Propy title. And again, you can see all those 5-star reviews on Google in Florida. And but some items definitely could help us grow even faster.
Well, I think the key here is once that you get framework from a regulatory standpoint starting to align, and it appears that we have that now with obviously the Trump administration, but possibly with some key states. Texas most likely will be a leader. I know you guys are in Florida, but all right, listen, Natalia, it's been good seeing you. And I think the interesting thing is as we start to see some growth here within blockchain in general, real estate is a natural next evolution. So if you guys want to learn more about Propy, you guys can just go over to their website, which is propy.com, and get a little bit more of a rundown. Thanks again for coming in today. We appreciate it.
Thank you, Paul.
You bet. All right, if you guys are not part of the Diamond Circle, get in right now. It's a great place to get initial content from us. And you can also jump into our private Telegram group, and that's where I am in there talking with you guys, coming up with ideas. What are you going on in terms of your strategies? I'll leave a link down below to join that. And of course, follow me out there on X at Paul Barron. We'll catch you next time right here on TechPath.